Ready? Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Festus City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Here.
Councilman Underwood, Councilman Weiner.
Here.
Councilman Dennis.
Here.
Councilwoman Templeton, Councilman Venz,
Here.
Councilman Cook,
Here.
Councilman Tenen.
We do have a forum or a quorum. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yep. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. The warrants for this evening total $908,621.51.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Venz,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Motion passes. Remarks of visitors,
We did not receive any requests.
bids,
We have none.
ordinances and resolutions tonight. We have bill number 4644 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 4644, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, amending Chapter 600 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Festus to amend certain provisions relating to liquor licenses and hours of operation, enacting new provisions relating to off-premises consumption, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4644 is now open for discussion. Could I have a staff report, please?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor, City Council, in your packets is a brief overview. The changes in Chapter 600 are due to Senate Bill 126, which was passed this year by the state legislature, signed into law by the governor. Primarily, it allows licensed retailers to sell intoxicating liquor by the drink in retailer packaged containers, which are filled on the premises. If you recall, they waived this provision early in the pandemic last year that allowed essentially restaurants, if you were to purchase food, you could also take a mixed drink in an approved container home with your meal. There is some new language also regarding the Director of Liquor Control and Administration and Enforcement. But the major change to the Chapter 600 is the provisions in Senate Bill 126.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4644 for the second time in title only?
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4644 for the second time?
Bill number 4644, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, amending Chapter 600 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Festus to amend certain provisions relating to liquor licenses and hours of operation, enacting new provisions relating to off-premises consumption, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and establishing an effective date. Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Venz,
Yes.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen.
Yes. Bill 4644 has passed. We have Bill 4645 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 4645, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute an agreement with Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for improvements to West Main Street, STP 2600-615, incorporating said agreement as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4645 is now open for discussion. Could I have a staff report, please?
Gentlemen, as you know, we applied for and were approved for the second phase of the West Main project. This would be the part that would extend from Park, which is immediately adjacent to City Hall here, and would extend to the overpass at I-55. That's the second phase of the West Main. There is a map pretty deep in that packet of information there.
Is there any discussion?
Do we have any dates on that, Craig?
This is slated for bid and construction next year.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4645 for the second time in title only.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4645 for the second time?
Bill number 4645, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into and execute an agreement with Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for improvements to West Main Street, STP 2600-615, incorporating said agreement as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date. Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood.
Yes.
Bill 4645 has passed. We also have Bill 4644 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read Bill 4644 or 4646?
Bill number 4646, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, to establish a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and substantial interest for certain municipal officials.
Do we have a staff report?
Sure. This is just the financial disclosure ordinance that we're required to pass by the Missouri Ethics Commission. We do this annually. There's been no changes to the language in the ordinance.
Is there any other discussion? Could I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4646 for the second time in title only?
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read the Bill 4646 for the second time?
Bill number 4646, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, to establish a procedure to disclose potential conflicts of interest and substantial interest for certain municipal officials. Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Benz.
Yes.
Bill 4646 has passed. New business.
Yes, sir. On the agenda this evening, Four Brothers Mead, Dan Luck is here to answer any of your questions specific to two festivals, one here at the end of the month and another in October 2nd, if I believe. What they're asking for is not just the use of the parking lot behind the meadery, but also to close down a small section of South 2nd Street to allow them to expand across the street into some green space that the city has over there as well. Based on the turnout of their event, their spring event, which was pretty substantial, they're going to need some extra room. So Dan's here to answer any of your questions, but the permission here is to use the parking lot and then also to be able to block barricade South Second for those 2 dates.
Hey, Greg, quick question.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Greg Camp.
Yeah.
Are any liability issues of offering our parking lot for private use?
No.
Okay.
No,
No concerns?
yeah, we have provision. We've been able to do that in the past and there hasn't been a liability issue there. So none continuing.
I guess my only question is, would you have somebody be there to kind of attend to that parking if to make sure that, get them in and out, kind of keep an eye on it, that's all I'm saying.
Yes.
I think you want to enjoy your event, so.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. So we, first off, thanks for letting me have the opportunity to speak. So yes, we will have security provisions on site. My brother, actually, one of the 4 brothers is a federal law enforcement officer, and he has some coworkers and friends that have offered their services to be there as a private security as well. So, and so yeah, that should be no concern at all. And this would be a small section between, basically in front of that old ball barn and not quite to the jeweler, if you could picture South Second Street there. So it's just a small section to where they can enter the parks, which we're working with the Parks Department now to take up some of that space as well. So it would just be for the safety of the people coming in from out of town to be able to, traverse back and forth.
No problem with you, Chief.
Hi there, Dan. I'm Brian Wayner. I have a small store up the street from you,
Yes.
and I see a lot of activity, a lot of good activity, and I think you're definitely doing your part for downtown to get people to come down and make it more successful. So like where South Second's going to be closed off there, the Witties and the ball barn there also, if you could contact those people and just let them know the situation, a week or 2 before, if you wouldn't mind, so that they're aware of what would happen. I think we'd all appreciate that.
Absolutely, not a problem. And for our past festivals where we had just the parking lot, we let them know the other businesses next to us in the new garage door place. And, we
Sure.
had flyers, we sent it out in months in advance. And I already talked to the gentleman that owns the strip of businesses where the jeweler is and all that.
Right, right.
And he's aware of it as well. So absolutely.
Okay, it seems sometimes and not with you necessarily, but sometimes, you get a complaint or 2 about people not knowing for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
that you're doing it, thank you, and appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve Mr. Luck's request.
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Go ahead, Mr. Luck.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. I've
Thank
got some
you.
of my kids this evening, so I'm gonna have to get going, but thank you so much.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Any old business?
We have none.
Well, I guess we'll get to the reports. Councilman Underwood.
I have nothing there.
Councilman Vins.
I did have something I forgot. Fifth Street, I don't know whichever one, by the school. Remember I asked you about the bike path where they come off the bikes and it's got that lip? Is there anything we can do with that?
Bikes aren't supposed to be on the sidewalk, Bobby.
Not sidewalk, the bike path. So when they go from the road to get to the path,
Mhm.
that's what they're complaining about.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind, sorry, Greg.
No, that's fine.
Bobby, I remember that you were concerned about that. So when MoDOT was walking the street with us, inspecting it, I asked the engineer and I asked MoDOT about adding that there, and they said we could not because of the ADA and the way that the sidewalk is. It would, in essence, make a mid-block crossing. So that means there'd be an opening, an ADA opening onto the middle of the street where there is no safety, no place safe for a person of disability to seek shelter. So you can't have an opening like that with the funding that we use to improve that. That way, it's basically a mid-block crossing, and it opens that person then up to exiting from coming in the park onto our street out in the middle of a busy
So they
street.
walk the bike, they gotta walk farther up the street to get.
I know.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
It doesn't make any sense, but that's the federal regulation. He said we cannot do it.
They asked, and I forgot to bring that.
If there was a cross street there and there was already a crosswalk, we absolutely could do
That's when
that.
you can do it.
But that's basically, it makes a crosswalk that's opening to a middle of a street. And he says you can't do that. You can't have a crosswalk in the middle of the street.
Oh, that's fine.
No, I'm just telling you, he was very plain about it.
I just remember.
And it makes sense if you think about it that way. Yes, sir.
Only other thing I forgot was tax-free weekend. Once again, we missed out on tax-free weekend.
If it's the council's desire for us to participate,
It just kind of sucked when everybody
The-
goes out of Jefferson County.
Sure.
It seemed like. we
The-
missed out on that.
the default with the state and the way that statute's written is that you have to opt in as a community. If it's the council's desire for us to participate in tax-free weekend,
There's
then-
only a certain few items.
Correct.
It brings-
and it's below a certain dollar threshold as
it
well.
brings More people. I know we only got Walmart, a couple of things, but still, it just brings, just like we call the drag strip up there this weekend. Brought a lot of people in this past week.
Mhm. Mhm.
Football, that kind of stuff is just something that brings people.
Sure.
Something to be looked at.
If it's council's desire, I mean, we can certainly make sure that we have the ordinance in place to opt in next year. And you vote on it, pass it, don't pass it. But there's no reason why we can't have that. And if I'm not mistaken, it is something we have to do annually to opt in. So it would be something where if we opted in for next year, we would have to agree to opt in again. Go ahead, Mike.
Quick
Sorry.
question for you. No. If we opted in, how would that work with Crystal if they didn't opt in and we share Walmart?
So the way the Walmart works is Walmart works off the higher of the two rates. Walmart would be working off of our rate, and based on the agreement that's in place between the two communities and Walmart Corporation, that essentially Crystal wouldn't have a say in which rate was going to be charged. Mhm.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilman Tenon.
I have nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Boyer.
Matt. Down in front of Monty Kennedy's store there on Main Street, we've got a parking spot there that really is regulated to be a ramp for people crossing there. We still need to get those stripes on each side of that.
That is on our list to do. Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's
because
just-
it was brought to my attention again a couple of days ago. And
It's on our list, and we're just busy. And so it's painting and that kind of stuff is something that we do when
okay,
weather permits and they have time. So usually Fridays is when we do that. Maybe we can work it in this Friday, but I'll remind them again about it. But
And
it
it's,
is on the list. I see it on the board.
right. We have this great street program, Main Street done. That ramp really is kind of steep right there for wheelchairs trying to get up it. For somewhere it can be maybe lowered a little bit.
One of the good things about that Great Streets program that we're now participating in is that all of the design work that comes out of that, certainly one of the things that all of us here, I think, made very clear is that the sidewalks in their current condition and with some of the steep approaches, some of the grades that are there, they're not ADA compliant, and
Right.
that's something that's important to us. So
Good,
that will definitely be part of
Be
the
addressed in that.
consideration. Yeah.
good. Thank you. That's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
All righty. Councilman Weiner.
So I ease right on into the sidewalk intro that Dave had there. But it doesn't have to do with Main Street. I don't know exactly who to ask right now, but our Greenbrier I think is where it is sidewalk. How are we
We were
progressing with
we
that?
were hoping that we'd be able to get to that last week. It hasn't happened yet. It will. I know school's coming soon.
It really is.
Mark and I had a conversation about it last Tuesday.
Okay.
And he was hoping that they would get to it last week. They didn't, but we're staying on it. So we'll follow up.
Okay, thank you. One other thing, I had a friend of mine that live out in Blue Ridge, and I think they probably contacted Kevin and Bobby on this. And there is they're wondering about a sidewalk. They've talked about this for 3 or 4 years. I think they finally just wrote about this. So is that something that is part of Festus, or is that like a special road district for where that sidewalk could connect from Blue Ridge down to that neighboring neighborhood?
Yeah.
Silica.
West Ridge. Yeah,
I think it's special road.
it is special road district. In fact, you can see it pretty clearly about where the color of the pavement changes in front of the first westward entrance is where it becomes special road district. So it's not our road, our right of way where we would be able to. That's not to say we couldn't partner up on a sidewalk project with Randy. Yeah, Randy Casey's been very easy to work with during my tenure at least. So
Okay,
it's certainly not a conversation we won't. It's one we can have.
okay, very good.
Mhm.
Okay, I appreciate it if we could look into that.
Mhm.
Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
All righty, thank you. Councilman Dennis.
Real quick, the speed sign in Orion is working, very much so. I've sat and watched it. I go down the hill and watch it myself, so that's a good thing. Really seems to be helping. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up, is the festival was wonderful. We didn't get to come out until it was cooled off a little bit, but we very much enjoyed it. And I thought it was really nice to breathe some fresh air and be out there. So it was a good job on that. So hopefully we'll see more of them. That's all I have.
All right, sir. Thank you. Councilman Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 things. One, Greg, I'm reading a library report and it looks like they had a diaper program that didn't have many participants. Is that something we can throw in the focus ahead of time to let residents know?
Focus will typically, in fact, almost every month, have a feature about the library in there, but it's whatever Elizabeth puts together and provides to Barb to put in the focus. I don't know if the diaper program run. We'd have to go back and look, but we can certainly make sure that it does in the future.
Yeah, I just thought it helps anybody. And the second thing is, I received a few phone calls and there's a small group forming about the traffic and safety concerns on Gamble Cemetery Road. Could you offer some guidance on what the step process would be as a city? What could we do to start working towards something?
Yeah. So one of the, I'm glad you brought it up because I know it's been something that's concerned residents for a while. Obviously, as the community grows, so does the traffic count. Matt and I were just looking here prior to the meeting, and there's about 2,000 cars a day that come through on Gamble Cemetery. Peak volume's about 160 in an hour. And that's any variety. That's motorcycles, that's cars, that's trucks, that's big trucks. But one of the nice things that we've accomplished in the last year or so is implementing that traffic calming policy. So that is really set up for when there is a group of residents, not just one, but when there's a neighborhood that wants the city to take a closer look. So we make that available. That's on our website. The policy and the forms needed to kind of start the ball rolling, where we're able to come in. We're able to obviously use those speed signs, which was the reason we bought those in the first place. We're able to step up patrols and enforcement in the area if needed. So those are the sorts of things, those tools that we already have ready for residents to use. So if they can't get them off the website, they can get a hold of Public Works. That everything runs through Public Works on that. Obviously, our street department, our building department, our police and fire departments are very involved in that process. As you recall, when we talked about that. So I guess step one is if you can't get the forms off the website, just get a hold of Public Works. We'll get the forms to them. It's a petition that asks the residents to have so many of them sign. Once we verify that, we start the ball rolling and we try to roll out those speed signs. That means that those signs that we all have become, well, almost everybody's become rather fond of, would then be deployed in the areas where they've been requested. So we may have to take one down in a location where we placed it now, or we would need to buy more of them, but they're not cheap. But the idea is then that we would deploy them in those neighborhoods where the residents are asking for us to take a closer look, because those log, obviously, vehicles and speed. We don't know what type of vehicle, but they certainly will let us know how many cars, how many vehicles, and how fast are they going. And then, of course, you use the traffic code to determine whether or not you need to take further steps.
Mike, are you talking about the cemetery 2-pound or?
The whole stretch there from they jump on 67 and use it more or less as a bypass to get to Highway A. You're seeing more pickup truck, or excuse me, more dump trucks, more diesels. Traffic volume's gotten pretty heavy. So as this progresses, is this something as we get more information, it's something we discuss further and take appropriate steps and see what we can do as a city?
Yeah, absolutely. And really, you know, the ball is in the residents in the neighborhood's court. If once they give it to us, we start running with it. We do our best to collect as much data as possible. If at some point we need to have engineers involved on perhaps methods or tools that we can use to slow traffic down, those are the sorts of things that we would do after we start that ball rolling. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, because I mean, since we implemented traffic calming, that policy, which is almost a year old now, no one's taken us up on the deal. I know we spent a lot of time kind of looking at it. We had the excellent help we got from CBB, traffic consultants. So it's a solid policy. So, and it's there for the residents to use so that we can take a look.
Thank you, sir. I apologize, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have, sir.
All righty. Thank you. Well, in the packet, I saw the survey questions that are going to be sent out to the residents, going to be put in their water bills, I believe, and then also online, so people can download them and fill them out and get them sent back to us. I thought it was a very good survey. I'm happy that we had a good turnout for the Blues Festival. Thank you to our Parks Department and Barb for making that event a success. And I am encouraging everyone who works for the city of Festus to get their vaccination. Not only do you help yourself, but you're also protecting the people that you work with when you're vaccinated. So I highly encourage everyone to get their vaccination. Having said that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.